Greetings everybody, it's Napalm Dawn on G4G, and today we're taking a look at yet another update in Marvel Duel. This is really surprising to hear that they're doing more cards and making more changes right after doing the Doctor Strange DLC, if you could call it a DLC. Doctor Strange content would be the way. And from February 4th to 18th, you can get refunds on dismantling these cards if you don't like the changes. So first, let's look at the adjustments. The Army of Asgard, a low-level card, it's a tank, really. The power dropped from 2 to 1, and it used to have a last word of give a friendly character 3/6/12 armor. Now it is give a friendly Guardian character 2/4/8 power and 2/4/8 armor. So kind of a nerf in all honesty, because it used to be that it could apply to anybody. Now it's only other Guardian characters. Maybe good if you're building an ASP early on, or maybe you have a built ASP that's tanking. This could be a little bit of a boost, but in my honest opinion, it's a bit of a nerf because it could have gone to anybody, and more on the anybody part on this when we get over to HoFund. But, yeah, bit of a nerf. Now, adding to power is good because if somebody attacks somebody who has armor, the revenge calculation obviously comes off of their power. So if you hit somebody who's 10 and 10, you are taking 10 damage for the attack. Previously, if we were just to take an example and use easy math, Guard Army would have given somebody armor, but they were really, really low in power. You know, then they're able to withstand the hit, but they're not doing a large amount of damage back. It's a bit balanced. I still just kind of am not that happy with this change. The Asgardian Pegasus, the power drops from 4 to 3, and it used to be that if you had another Asgardian on the field, it gained 4/8/16 armor. Now it's after you take an action, it gains 1/2/4 power and 2/4/8 armor. Again, it's this balancing going on from extreme armor to a balance of power armor. However, you could, with the Asgardian shield, if you knew you had another Asgardian on the field, you could kind of treat the Pegasus as an early tank. You know, 2-star in round 2 and an Asgardian shield. I mean, that's pretty beefy over there. But now they have to take an action to get the bonus. So now it's not a guard anymore. It's not a tank. It's kind of like that bruiser in MOBAs and action games where it's a, you know, a buff character that isn't necessarily soaking all the hits, but they're doing damage. Kind of like a berserker or barbarian kind of class. Again, sort of kind of defeats what I think a lot of people did with Asgardian Pegasus, but okay. HoFund, all characters was the old equip, now it's Guardian. Don't like this. Really, really don't like this at all. HoFund was, no pun intended, a lot of fun. You could slap it on anybody. You could put it on Lady Deathstrike to boost her crits, but also be able to take the damage from attacking. One of my favorite applications of HoFund, not on a Thor or P-Frog or something, is I like to drop it on Kamala Khan when I was doing heavy skill decks and everything, because it allows her to have armor as a bit of a shield and to live when it's her turn to attack. So by boosting her armor, she has a greater chance of living, so that yet again maybe more skill damage could boost her the second time around. It sort of goes with the Guard Army nerf over here. It's really, really buying into Guardians rather than anybody. Don't like this one. Hogun, his armor went from 3 to 5. That makes him a little bit of a stronger early game card now because he has the thing of, the conversion of the armor to the power and whatnot. This makes him a little bit more palatable. Heimdall goes from support to guardian. Lady Sif goes from attack to guardian and gains 2 armor. I kind of don't agree with the attack to guardian switch over here. I like her as being an attacker because that's more what I think of her as, and it now kind of changes what can go on her. But now that you're giving her armor, you could give her a Dragon Fang. She still could get the Hope Fund even though she could have gotten it before. Heimdall's support the Guardian, I guess makes sense. Not really too sure what they're doing here, other than maybe they're just pushing Asgardian to, quote, as a Guardian does. I mean, it's just really pushing heavy for more armor and more Guardian characters in that whole hero set. Silk, it used to be when a friendly Spider-Verse character is defeated, she gains 248 armor. And this was always really good if you fed her spider tokens. Now it's when a friendly Guardian character is defeated, this card gains 124 power, 248 armor. What ridiculous nerf over here. Absolutely ridiculous in a lot of ways. Now, granted, the tokens, with the exception of the Carnage token, are guards, so she's still fed predominantly the same diet. However, you still had other Spider-Verse cards, like early on, like maybe a Gwen Stacy. Spider-Man that causes your spider characters to not take damage when they hit stun people. I mean, there's a lot of... Yeah, this changes too much. I think it is a nerf. Granted, that maybe means if you're running Spider-Man Asgard or Spider-Man Thor, maybe she gets a little bit more synergy, because now it's not just Spider-Verse, but if you were really banking heavily on Spider cards, she's nerfed. If you have a plan to use her with Frost Giants, Frost characters out of Hela, the Doctor Strange Guardian characters, the Thor Guardian characters, then maybe she is buffed. It all depends on the adjustment you can make as to whether or not you think this is a buff or nerf. And in certain decks, I definitely think it's a big nerf. Hyperion, it used to be last words, summon 2 random characters with a cost 5 or lower, and star level 1 to 4 give them guard. Now it is 2 random Guardian characters with the same stuff. Okay, I guess this in a way is a buff because you're fixing the predictability of it a little bit. And Guardians probably are going to be better at guarding rather than somebody else. I mean, here you can maybe more guarantee you're going to get, say, like a Captain America or a Sandman or a Crossbones rather than pulling a Kamala Khan, for example. I would give this one, I would actually call this one a bit of a buff. Nebula, she goes from support to attack. It used to be when you would pull down the 3rd character card, when you're buying cards, the card to her left gets 4, 8, or 16 power until the end of battle. Fun card to play around. I only had one deck where I really used it, and that's my Iron Army deck, which is an Iron Man invocation deck. Kind of fun. Sort of changes how you buy cards. But now it's at the start of battle, gain N power, where N is equal to the number of other friendly attack characters, 1, 2, 4. So I really feel like this whole update that we're looking at here is basically class warfare. I feel like it's attackers fighting Guardians. Everything seems to be very class-based. However, this is kind of... This works in a lot of decks. And makes using Nebula a bit easier. And if you have a Guardian deck with like an early Rocket or Drax, it certainly fits. Rocket Raccoon used to deal damage equal to the number of your Guardian characters plus 1, 2, or 4 to a random opponent when he defeats somebody. Now, it's still a defeat skill, but he does 2, 4, or 8 damage to a random opponent. He still needs to get the kill, though. Still feeds Kamala Khan, which is pretty decent if he gets a kill. Groot, it used to be Triumph. If you won that round, you would gain 4, 8, or 16 armor. Now it's at the start of turn, gain 3, 6, or 12 armor. So it's a bit more predictable, and he never suffers the ego or the gladiator loss. So he'll always be able to gain. It does, however, mean he never will get out of control. Rather than pulling a Groot early and having just winds buff the crap out of him until the end where maybe he runs a Stormbreaker and he wipes your team, he's predictable. So on this one, I would say he sacrificed volatility to gain consistency, but his maximum overall cap is definitely nerfed. Superior Spider-Man went from a Guardian to an attack. He gained a lot of power and he lost armor. His old skill was summon 3 random Spider-Verse characters with a cost 5 or lower and a star level 1, 2, or 4. Now it's new skill, he gains critical hit. On last word, summon 3 random Spider-Verse characters and give them critical hit. I like this. This is... I would call this a buff. To be honest, and it certainly feeds crit decks, it feeds Hawkeye, it feeds new Yellowjacket, who is actually really cool. M'Baku's power dropped a lot, and he used to give stun to 2-4 or all opponents when he died. Now it's when you play an attack character card, give a 2-4 friendly character plus 2 power. So... I mean, we already had cards that kind of did this with the Outrider and the Eagle, and using Falcon as a buffer. I think this older... I think M'Baku is underused, considering how strong this could be at 4 stars. He went from having a really good niche to just kind of being an attack buffer now. This is disappointing. The Collector's power went from 4 to 8. He has a Guardians of the Galaxy keyword. It used to be, if you won that round, add a basic star level 2 or star level 4 copy of a random opponent defeated by your Guardian characters in the last battle to your hand. So you could sort of kind of like steal cards, really. Now, it's the opponent with the highest cost in the last battle to your hand. That does not always necessarily mean the most threatening opponent. You could have a high-cost card that is not that strong and pull it down. Enchantress' Cloaked Yellowjacket. This is one of my favorites, actually. He gained 2 armor, and it used to be that he was a guard, and if you summon a character with critical hit, he gains 2, 4, 8 armor. Now it's after a friendly character with critical hit launches an attack. There's this bad English again. It gains power and armor. So you're seeing that balance of armor power again. Taking away guard kind of sucks. However, now that he's set up to kind of be a buffed character, maybe you don't want him guarding because you want him living more. And anybody with a critical hit ahead of time works out. And if you do it with the new spider tokens from Superior Spider-Man, it's going to go crazy. I think you can build a crit deck with like Wasp and other crit characters in Hawkeye and have a really killer Yellowjacket by the end of the game. Baldur's power and armor go up. Venom Mysterio, it used to be he summoned 2 black symbiotes with 2, 4, 8 power and guard. Now he has summoned 2, 4, or 6 black symbiotes with 2, 4, 8 power and guard. This is, this is a definite buff over here. Clearly, there's no negative to this whatsoever. total buff. Symbiotes. The star level of all black and red symbiotes that are summoned to the field will always be 1. And they used to have some of the other adjustments down here that actually seems to go. And also, we have new cards to talk about. So, Black Cat. Annihilate. Always attack the nearest opponent. Attack characters, blah, blah, blah. So, she's very, very strong attack for just a 2-drop. I mean, a round 1, dropping 4 damage is great. A targeted 4 is also good. So if you think that people on the other side are maybe running like a Lady Deathstrike in the first position and you don't want to deal with her crit, or Spider-Woman, put her opposite and, you know, you might get lucky. Pretty cool. Yeah. Happy with it. Cool art. And Annihilate early like that makes her really stand out. We have the Spider Glider. It goes on attack characters and it gives them 3 power. When a friendly character enters the battlefield in battle, in other words, the tokens, give the equipped character +2 power. You could put that on somebody like Spider-Woman, Doppelganger Miles. I mean, there is definitely a couple people you could put that on. Specifically within the spiders, you don't really have a use for it until later in your store. Like Doppelganger would work out. Symbiote Spider-Man would work out really, really good. However, if you're mixing spiders with another deck, clearly really, really benefits from tokens. Tokens will feed this really good. So any kind of a Howard the Duck style deck would work. So we also need to look at the Spider Suit. Deal N damage to an opponent with the highest power, where N is equal to the number of Spider-Verse characters that have been defeated times 5. This is another one where tokens really work out. So Mysterio's still the same. Here's Venom Mysterio. Summon 6 black symbiotes with 16 power card. If you got him up to 18 stars, that's really solid. But again, Spider Suit, the Spider Glider, all of these things tend to put Spider-Man as a really, really heavy token deck. And if you put the Spider Glider on Spider Suit, now you're doing double duty, which is actually pretty cool. That's some good synergy between the two of them. To be honest, it reminds me of Magic the Gathering decks that use, like, squirrel decks, you know, the heavy token decks. And of course, you still have the good synergy between Miles Morales and Howard the Duck, buffing the tokens. You could probably run a heavy spider deck off of tokens, and Hell Crown, which I still have yet to have, but I could make it if I wanted to. A Hell Crown from the Hella cards would go good with this. Carnage Spider-Man, 5-drop, critical hit, 12 power. When he is defeated, summon the first friendly attack character that has been defeated this battle. That's anybody. Any attack character. So you could use that to surprise anybody. I mean, you could have a 4-star Absorbing Man come back and do another bomb. Maybe you can wombo combo this with Hella too, because of the fact that, let's say you set up your destroyer early on and you had him do a lot of damage up front, but you knew he was going to die because he wasn't protected by your tank. Maybe later in the battle, when Carnage Spider-Man dies and you re-summon Destroyer, having a high chance of a Maverick, you get to have the early attack Destroyer and you get to have the Maverick Destroyer. There's Superior Spider-Man. Again, you know, another summon. So we have Spider Sense, which is a new card. once per battle. When the rightmost friendly character is attacked, if it's a Spider-Verse card, block the damage, give the attacker stunned. So at least we're still running a lot of stuns in Spider deck with Sandman, and where it's Spider-Man 2099. The pumpkin bombs dealing extra damage if they're stunned. So Spider-Man's kind of essence of being is turning out to be tokens and stuns. And of course you still have the infamous Goblin Glider over there. So if we go to neutral, we see the new Yellowjacket. Sometimes works with Wasp. Yeah, it definitely works with Wasp very clearly. So Abigail Brand, when you play a Guardian character card, give a friendly character +2 power. Just an absolute boost to Guardians in this update. I mean, they're kind of making out like bandits. This again strikes me as another good one for Asp. If you're building an early Asp, these two could joint up for a while and give each other some love. Tokens that are coming in as guards might work. That might work. That'll be interesting to see if you summon a guard or a guardian token, if that procs that. Very weak power, but she's got some pretty high armor. Of course, we have the Scarlet Shield, which is relatively new, but not one of the brand new ones. Wonderman. He is a guard. After being attacked, give your other guardians 2 power. There is an event, one of the event days, where the enemy avatar kept stunning you. Every time it summoned a devil, it would stun random characters. He would have been great for that, because you're not really worried about attacking so much as you are just weathering the damage, and giving other guards 2 power with Hulk, Black Panther, really would have comboed well off them. Captain America could have had a lot of fun over there. Day or two late on that one. So we had the Juggernaut helmet from the Doctor Strange set, because Juggernaut is not a mutant, as you know. He's Mystic. It's Sidorak who gives him his powers. This, I cannot wait to try and combo one of these. The equipped character cannot be damaged, defeated, or stunned before the first friendly character takes an action. Dismantle this equipment. I want you to think about this combination over here. Put the Juggernaut helmet on a tank like Sandman or something, who absorbs all the single target hits, and until Sandman can actually take an action, like go on the offensive, he will essentially be able to take all that damage and be invincible. That is really, really crazy to put this on a tank, because it guarantees that they will live until they actually act. There's nothing that can be done. You can't puncture them. The only thing that would work is maybe they get turned into a symbiote from the random Mysterio, but even still, until he acts, he would be a 2/2 invincible symbiote. I cannot wait to earn one of these, and I think there's a lot of fun combinations you could do with this. You could run 2 guards and put the Juggernaut helmet on them and have a nearly invincible setup to your deck to make your deck go the way you want it to go, because your guard lives. How many times have you had a deck fall south on you because your guard died super early for some reason, and then the plan of the cards on your field fail because they start getting attacked? So I really cannot wait to get a Juggernaut helmet and start comboing it. And that's it. So Spider-Sense, Wonderman, Abigail Brand, Black Cat, the Spider Glider, the Spider Suit, and Carnage Spider-Man were the new cards on here. I think the Spider Suit with the Spider Glider is going to be a fun combo. Wonderman could wind up being interesting. Especially if you put him with like a bunch of Jotunheim cards. And Black Cat is a really powerful early drop. Definitely deserves to go in a few decks. And it gives, it gives early spiders a little bit of a boost. Abigail Brand, really, really high armor. It's going to be interesting to see if summons will cause this. And she's got some synergy with Shield. However, she isn't considered Shield. She's Sword. But, there are some Shield characters that she could boost, like the Agent and Phil and everything like that. So, nothing new and locked, unfortunately. So, that's the next update after the Doctor Strange update, guys. Do you agree or disagree with the nerf and buff discussion? And out of the new 7 or so cards, what do you like the most out of this? Mostly spiders, but out of those new 7 cards, what do you like the most, and what are you looking forward to trying to do? Thanks for stopping by, everybody, and have a good one.